Today I'd like to talk to you about positive and negative numbers. So, positive and negative numbers are not so difficult to handle. You know how to deal with positive numbers already. You know how to multiply, for example, 3 by 7. You know that 3 times 7 is 21. Well, there's some rules here, and of course there's a little dorky joke here. Stay positive about negatives, you know, let's see. So, when two negatives meet, a minus times a minus is equal to a plus. And then a positive times a positive, well, that's just a positive. Like if you did 3 times 7, that would just be 21. But if you do negative 3 times negative 7, then you get positive 21. So you need to know that when the sign is the same, essentially, you always get a positive. So it's only cases where you have a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive that you'll get a negative number. Only when the signs are alternate. So if you get negative 3 times positive 7, that's going to be a negative number. Or the other way around. Now there's also another little detail here. If you have an addition or subtraction and you find yourself with minus minus, well, don't keep that. Change minus minus into a plus, and then that will make your life easier. So when you see minus minus in an addition or subtraction, make sure you change that into a positive as well. So let's check it out then. 3 times 7, oh, that's 21, that's okay. 3 times negative 7. Okay, a positive times a negative is a negative. Now, there's a trick that one of my Year 5 students likes to use, so I'm going to share that with you, but it's kind of an absolute logic thing. You don't have to think about it as true in terms of life in general. If a good thing happens to a good person, that's a good thing. If a bad thing happens to a good person, oh, that's a bad thing. So when a negative multiplies a positive, it's a negative. Okay, and then the absolute rule is if a bad thing happens to a bad person, then it's a good thing, but don't take that as life advice, just use that for your memory in mathematics if you like. So yeah, a negative times a negative becomes a positive, right? So what happens here with negative 7 times negative 3? Oh, well, two negatives multiplied together, that's going to be positive 21. So be aware of that. A negative times a negative is a positive. And then here we have this other scenario down here. Minus 7 minus minus 3. Well, that's the same as saying, so minus minus is just a plus, right? That's the same as saying minus 7 plus 3. And what's minus 7 plus 3? Well, imagine you're swimming underwater at negative 7 meters and you decide to go up by 3 meters. Where are you? Well, you'd be swimming at minus 4 meters. So that's what minus 7 plus 3 is. Now, let's think about this one. 3 take away 7 is negative 4. So I have 3 apples. You want to buy 7 apples. How many apples do I need to give you? Well, I'll give you the 3 that I have, but I'm still missing 4 apples. So I have negative 4 apples. And then I'll use my swimming analogy for the last one here. Minus 7 minus 3. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so I'm swimming underwater. I'm at minus 7 meters. And I decide to go down by 3 because I said minus 3. Where am I now? Well, I'm at negative 10 meters. So you need to make the difference between being in the negatives and going deeper into the negatives, or being in the negatives and coming back into the positives, so going up. So think about it like being underwater and swimming. When you're in the negative numbers, you can think about whether you go deeper or whether you're coming back up towards the surface. That should help you in the first stages. So remember, stay positive about negatives. This was positive and negative numbers. If this is useful to you, make sure that you support us by following, sharing, and commenting in the section. You can follow us on Instagram. We're on @MathemagicMD, and we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/HLMathemagic. It's a pleasure to share this with you today, and I hope you can stay positive about negative numbers, and dorky humor is the best. Okay, see you next time.